Ever spilled Coca-Cola on something and watched it fizz like it's trying to start a chemical experiment? Yeah, same. And if you've spent any time on the internet, you've probably come across those viral posts claiming Coca-Cola can clean just about anything, from toilet bowls to rusty old tools. But today we're zeroing in on one very specific question. Can Coca-Cola really remove rust? Is it a miracle cleaner hiding in your fridge, or just another sticky myth made famous by TikTok and YouTube shorts? Let's find out, right here on History of Food. All right, first things first, what even is rust? Rust happens when iron or steel meets water and oxygen over time. It's basically your metal's way of saying, I'm tired, I'm oxidizing. It forms this reddish-brown, flaky coat that looks bad and weakens the structure of your metal. Not ideal. To remove rust, people have traditionally used things like vinegar, baking soda, commercial rust removers, or a good old wire brush and elbow grease. But somewhere along the way, people started saying, hey, you know what else is acidic? Coca-Cola. And just like that, a myth was born. So, why Coke? Well, Coke contains a few key ingredients that make it plausible for rust removal. 1, it's acidic. Coca-Cola has a pH around 2.5 thanks to something called phosphoric acid. This is the same acid found in some rust removers. It helps break down iron oxide, or for simpler terms, rust. 2, it has carbonation. That fizz you love in your soda? It's carbonic acid, which is a very weak acid formed when carbon dioxide dissolves in water. It's not super effective alone, but it might give a tiny boost in cleaning power. And 3, it's cheap and everywhere. You probably already have a can sitting in your fridge right now, so if it did work, it would be a game changer. But that's the theory. What about real-world results? Several chemists and DIYers have tested Coke's rust-removing power, and the results? Kind of mixed. Yes, Coca-Cola can remove some rust, especially surface rust. That's the kind that forms a thin layer on the outside of the metal and hasn't eaten in too deep. The phosphoric acid in Coke helps loosen and dissolve the outer layer of rust, making it easier to scrub off. You'll see the Coke start to darken as the rust particles mix in. But here's the thing, it's not instant. It usually takes hours of soaking, and even then, you still have to get in there and scrub the metal with steel wool or a brush. Coca-Cola is not some magical rust-vanishing potion. It's more like a mild assistant. If you're serious about removing rust, like for tools, bikes, or antiques, Coke is nowhere near as effective as purpose-built rust removers. Products like Evapor Rust or even plain white vinegar are much stronger and faster. Plus, using Coke can be messy. It's sticky, it leaves sugar residue, and you definitely don't want it near electrical parts or anything you plan to touch without gloves afterward. In addition to that, it is also worth noting, while the phosphoric acid is the hero here, it's present in relatively small amounts in Coke. You'd need a lot of soda and a lot of time to get results comparable to even the cheapest bottle of rust remover from your local hardware store. So unless you're doing it as a fun DIY experiment, or you're in a tight pinch and Coke is literally the only thing available, it's not exactly your go-to rust solution. So let's bust or confirm the myth. Coca-Cola can remove rust. The verdict? Well, true, but only slightly. Coke can help loosen light rust because of its acidic content, especially the phosphoric acid. It's not a total lie, but calling it a rust remover is a bit of a stretch. It's more like a rust softener, and only if you're patient and willing to scrub. So yes, it works, kinda. But is it effective, practical, or clean? That's where it falls short. Honestly, if you've got a rusty nail or a vintage wrench you want to experiment on, Sure, pour some Coke on it and have fun, but if your bike chain is rusted and you're thinking Coke is going to restore it to showroom condition, maybe go with vinegar or an actual rust treatment instead. Oh, and please don't try this on your car's paint or anything delicate. It might do more harm than good. Now, this might get you thinking, if Coca-Cola can soften rust, is it even safe to drink? Fair question. But here's the deal. Yes, Coke contains acids like phosphoric acid, but in very tiny amounts, way less than what would harm you. In fact, many foods and drinks we consume have some level of acidity. Orange juice, for example, is even more acidic than Coke. The human body is pretty great at handling small amounts of acid, especially when it's paired with sugar, carbonation, and flavorings. So while Coke can help loosen rust with a long soak, it's totally safe to drink in moderation. Just maybe not the healthiest option if you're chugging it by the gallon or drinking it almost every day. Remember, moderation is key. Now let's hit two birds in one stone. Beyond rust, you might have heard people say Coca-Cola can be used as a cleaner for toilets and such. Well, while there's some truth to that, the reality is that Coke's cleaning power is pretty mild compared to actual cleaning products. Yes, its acidity can help break down grime or stains, especially with a little scrubbing, but it's not a miracle cleaner. It won't magically make a dirty toilet sparkle without effort, and the sticky sugar it leaves behind can actually attract more dirt if you don't rinse it off properly. So while it can be used as a cleaner in a pinch, it's more of a fun experiment than a go-to solution for real cleaning jobs. Okay now, let's back to rust. Let's be real about rust itself. It's not always easy to remove. Even light surface rust can cling stubbornly to metal, and the deeper it goes, the tougher it gets. So when people claim that Coca-Cola can just melt rust away like magic, we need to pause and think. Yes, it has acid, but removing rust isn't just about throwing an acidic liquid on it and walking away. Real rust removal often takes time, effort, and sometimes a bit of scrubbing muscle. So what's more to Coke? So the next time you're sipping a Coke on a hot day, just know, you're drinking a very mild, slightly rusty cleaning agent. Yum. Kidding. Sort of. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us today. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to see more myth-busting videos like this one, hit that like button, subscribe, and let us know in the comments. What's the weirdest cleaning hack you've ever heard? And should we test it next? Stay curious, stay skeptical, and remember, just because something can work doesn't always mean it's the best way to do it. See you in the next video.